We've seen this movie before. A desperate parent is faced with an impossible decision: sacrifice their child to save many. In fiction, it often plays out with a parent choosing their child. After all, what kind of monster would choose to sacrifice their own child? But in real life, the choice isn't so clear-cut. Imagine for a moment that you are a parent. Your child is one of 20 students on a field trip to a nearby farm. The bus carrying your child and the other students suddenly goes off-road and crashes into a ravine. As you make your way through the wreckage, you discover that your child is trapped underneath some twisted metal, seriously injured but still alive. You can free them from the wreckage, but there isn't enough time to get them to the hospital. They will die unless you perform emergency surgery right then and there. But you aren't a medical professional, and the chances of survival are less than 1%. But you do have your cell phone. If you can get a signal and call for help, they might be able to make it. You pull out your phone and start dialing, but just then you hear cries for help from inside the bus. Some of the other children have survived, but they're trapped, and they need your help. You try to free them from the wreckage, but it's too much work. You can't do it alone. And if you leave your child behind, they will surely die. But if you abandon the other children, their lives are also hanging in the balance. What do? Do you stay with your child and let the other children die, or do you try to save the other children and let your child die? This is what we call the trolley problem. How many lives are you willing to sacrifice to save one? When faced with this situation, most people say they would choose to save the majority of children. However, studies show that when it comes to making a real-life decision, parents are more likely to choose their own child. Even though sacrificing your child to save many seems like the logical thing to do, in reality, it means going against everything you've ever learned about parenting. Every instinct in your body tells you to protect your child, not sacrifice them. It's this primal drive that leads most parents to choose their child over the greater good. But is it always better to choose the lesser of two evils? When you look at history, sacrificing the few to save the many has often been looked upon as the greater good. For example, the Spanish flu of 1918 killed an estimated 50 million people worldwide. This was a horrific tragedy that killed entire families overnight. However, it also gave us an opportunity to study the virus and learn how to treat it, which ultimately led to the development of new vaccines and treatments that saved countless lives in the future. In this case, the death of millions saved the many who were yet to come. Utilitarianism suggests that we should always do what provides the greatest good for the greatest number of people. In theory, this sounds like a great way to live. Who wouldn't want to do the most good they possibly could? But in practice, things are not so simple. If you were to apply this logic to every situation, you would be considered a monster by some and a hero by others. For example, let's go back to the bus crash scenario. Let's say that you have a child on that bus and you know that there's no way that they're going to survive. You also know that the other children on the bus are your only chance of happiness in the future. Would you really be willing to sacrifice them to save your own child? If you're a parent, the answer is probably no. You wouldn't be willing to sacrifice the lives of other innocent children just to save your own. But what if it was your only option? What if the only way to save your child was to sacrifice the other children on the bus? Would you be willing to do that? Most parents say they would never be willing to sacrifice the lives of other innocent children to save their own, but faced with this impossible decision, they often choose their own child. So is there ever a situation where it's okay to sacrifice the few to save the many? There's no easy answer. But as we continue to learn more about human nature and the way our brains work, we may one day be able to make better decisions about how to allocate our resources and save more lives in the process. Until then, we can try to be more aware of the biases that influence our decision-making and strive to do what we believe is right, even when it's difficult. This was a tough one. Do you agree with the results? Why or why not? Let us know in the comments below, and for more thought-provoking questions like this, stay tuned.